ratepayers and the taxpayers in his constituency, but he is bringing it here as a local member. That is his job, and we will make sure it gets the scrutiny it deserves at the Select Committee.
Chris Ockenville.
Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and it's with pleasure that I stand to speak on the South Taranaki District Council Cold Creek Rural Water Supply Bill. And I reflect back, having listened to the previous speaker, the Honourable Annette King, I reflect back on the serious concerns that she has expressed, and I'm quite sure from speaking to my colleagues about this bill, and quite sure from my previous experience with the Local Government Environment Select Committee, those concerns, probably very correctly raised, will, I'm sure, be answered during the Select Committee, which is why I'm very pleased to think that there could be universal agreement to refer this bill to a Select Committee. I may say that I appreciate the business of water supply and private from my experience, especially with dealing with other members of the opposition. There is almost a paranoia at times, not in this case, but at times there's almost a paranoia over my friend over there, over who should own water. And I think one of the significant things about this particular proposal is, let's just look at the background to it. And I've come into it without having been part of any previous discussion, and I can sense that it's pretty much straight up and down. It's a real Taranaki job, this one. Say again? Yeah, it's right. I'm told I'm right, and that's reassuring to hear that from the member. It's not a significant economic asset. It isn't like the discussions we had over the Auckland water supply. The farmers who use it and who will be the shareholders are the only ones who benefit from the schemes. They're the only ones who are at any risk from the scheme not quite working out. It's about pipes and concrete. Pipes and concrete, Andrew, not about the water. The bill enables ownership of an asset built by the local community. And let's remember when this was done. This was done between 1984 and 1987. It was a good classic instance of a community putting shoulders to the wheel, noses to the grindstone, getting on. No, they didn't actually use taxpayers' money. Read your notes about it. It was a group of farmers and residents living near Opanaki. Sorry, taxpayer, possibly yes. But they built a water race scheme in the Cold Creek catchments to supply the farms and the homes with water. Four times TDC, who really do know what they're talking about, have voted to vest the scheme back to the Cold Creek Community Water Supply Limited. 4 times. Each time they've come across the problem associated with the local government 2002. It was, as Andrew Little has correctly said, financed by a government subsidy, dollar for dollar contributions. Dollar for dollar, yeah, that's right. And so we're saying it, under a Labour government, it was, the contributions were made dollar for dollar. It wasn't free. And at the time, the government insisted that legal title of the scheme be vested in a local entity. So it was vested with the Egmont Plains Community Board. With local authority amalgamations in 1989, South Taranaki District Council became the title holders. The question would be, have the ratepayers contributed to the cost of this operation? Have they? They have not. They have never paid towards the purchase, never paid towards the maintenance or otherwise of the scheme or any other part. It's totally operated by the residents and the beneficiaries of the scheme. Therefore, they want ownership vested to them under the Cold Creek Community Water Supply Company. This is perfectly reasonable. The company has managed the scheme, including finances, operations and maintenance of the water reticulation work since 2001. To reassure the previous speaker, the cost of the water, the price of the water is not perceived as a problem. They have large financial reserves. They're not afraid of maintaining the cost themselves. But I appreciate the points that have been raised, and I have every confidence, Mr. Speaker, every confidence that every question will be answered to the satisfaction and reassurance of the opposition. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I call Grant Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.